You probably used money today, maybe without even touching it. A tap on a screen, a card, a number changing somewhere you can't see. It feels normal now, almost invisible. We don't really think about money anymore. We just trust that it works. But money wasn't always this quiet. It wasn't always fast. Before it became a habit, money was a problem humanity had to solve. Before money existed, people still traded. They exchanged what they had for what they needed. Food for tools, labor for protection, goods for services. This system worked, but only under one condition. Both sides had to want something at the same time. And that was the problem. Value existed, but it wasn't stable. It changed from moment to moment, from place to place, and from person to person. A sack of grain might be valuable today, but useless tomorrow. As communities grew larger, this system began to slow everything down. People didn't need more things. They needed a shared way to measure value itself. Money didn't appear to create wealth, it appeared to solve this problem. To solve this problem, early societies turned to something physical, something measurable. Metal, silver, bronze, and other metals became tools for value, not because they were beautiful, but because they could be weighed and verified. Value was no longer based on whoever needed something most. It was based on weight. Scales appeared. Balance mattered. For the first time, value could be compared, stored, and moved. But this system still had friction. Every piece had to be measured, every deal took time, and not every chunk of metal was pure. In busy markets, that uncertainty became expensive. People needed money that was quicker to trust, money that didn't require a scale every time. The solution was close, but it wasn't complete yet. This is why early economies often relied on merchants and specialists. Someone had to know the weights, the metals, and the tricks. As trade expanded across cities and regions, the weight of money became a problem of its own. Not just heavy to carry, but slow to use. The next step didn't change what money was made of. It changed how people trusted it. Instead of weighing metal every single time, societies began shaping it into fixed forms. Metal was cut into equal pieces, stamped, marked. These marks were not decoration, they were guarantees. A coin meant the weight had already been measured. The metal had already been checked. The value had already been agreed on. For the first time, trust was built directly into money itself. Transactions became faster. Markets grew larger. You no longer needed a scale or a specialist. You needed belief in the system behind the coin. Money was no longer just metal. It became something that could move freely across cities, across borders, and eventually across entire civilizations. As coins spread, something else became clear. Money needed authority. Those marks on coins had to mean something, and someone had to stand behind them. This is where states entered the picture. Kings, empires, and governments began issuing money, not just to trade, but to control trust. A coin no longer represented metal alone, it represented power. If the state survived, the money survived. If it fell, the money collapsed with it. Trust moved again. From metal to symbols to institutions, money became political. It could be taxed, stored, controlled. And once governments understood this, money stopped being just a tool of exchange. It became a tool of influence. Eventually, carrying metal became impractical. Not because it lacked value, but because it lacked speed. As trade expanded, people needed money that was lighter, easier to move, and faster to use. The solution appeared far earlier than most people expect. In China. Paper money didn't replace metal. It represented it. Each note was a promise, a statement that value existed somewhere else. For the first time, money was no longer valuable on its own. It was valuable because people believed in what it stood for. This was a dangerous idea, but also a powerful one, because once money became representation, it could travel farther than any coin ever could. Once money became representation, it no longer needed to move from hand to hand. It only needed to be recorded. This is where banks quietly changed everything. Instead of carrying value, people began storing it. Gold, silver, and paper disappeared behind walls, vaults, and counters. What moved instead were numbers, balances written in ledgers, promises kept by institutions. For everyday life, money became invisible. You didn't see it. You didn't touch it. You trusted that it existed somewhere else, guarded by someone you would never meet. This made trade faster and safer, but also more abstract. Ownership became an idea rather than a physical experience. People no longer counted what they had. They believed what they were told they had. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, money stopped being something people held. It became something they trusted others to remember for them. As technology advanced, money began to move even faster. It no longer needed paper, metal, or vaults. Plastic cards changed daily life. With a swipe, value could move instantly. No counting, no exchange. Money became something that traveled through systems rather than hands. Soon after, screens replaced cards. Balance is updated in real time. Payments happened in seconds. Distance stopped mattering. For the first time, money moved at the speed of information. This changed how people spent, saved, and even thought about value. When money became faster, decisions became quicker. Spending became easier. The effort once required to part with value disappeared. Money was no longer felt, it was processed. And as systems grew more complex, money became something most people no longer fully understood. They didn't need to. They only needed to trust that it worked. Today, money rarely looks like money at all. It lives inside phones, cards, and systems that never sleep. Most payments happen without sound, without weight, without effort. A screen lights up, a confirmation appears, and value moves. We no longer stop to think about what is happening underneath. The networks, the institutions, the agreements that make it all possible. Money works quietly in the background of daily life, so quietly that it feels natural. But this invisibility has changed our relationship with value. When money lost its physical form, it also lost friction. Spending stopped feeling like loss. Saving stopped feeling like possession. Money became constant, abstract, and everywhere at once. It no longer asks for attention. It no longer demands effort. It simply flows. And most of the time, we don't notice it at all. Money didn't disappear. It didn't become smarter or more advanced on its own. It simply followed trust, from hands to metal to paper to institutions to screens. Each change made money lighter, faster, and easier to use, but also easier to ignore. Today, money is everywhere, yet rarely noticed. It shapes decisions, habits, and entire lives without asking for attention. The next time you pay for something without thinking, remember that money was once heavy, slow, and impossible to ignore. What changed wasn't technology. It was the way we agreed to trust each other. This was money before today.